Good morning, Astra Leadership Team. I hope you're all doing really well. I wanted to check in with you. It's a fortnight today since we did our workshops around change and mindset. And I wanted to firstly thank you so much for your participation and for your vulnerability, your openness with me. I had a wonderful time with you and I hope you learnt some new and fresh ideas around mindset and change. I wanted to also review the 3 key points that we talked about, which may help you, particularly as you come into your Q4 check-ins with your people and begin to manage the change for them and with them as you come to the end of the year. You may remember that we talked about my beautiful sister Karen and her diagnosis of terminal cancer. The 3 key points or decisions that I made in order to manage that change is where we really framed up our 2 days discussion. And with that great change, I went straight into fight-flight mode. I went straight into reaction and I was very much at the effect of this horrible news. And I knew that I could not lead myself or her through this horrible time unless I did some management around my responses. So the 3 decisions that I made were to respond instead of react. We had a look at the brain and how the brain is wired, particularly these negative biases that we do have to fall into that place of risk assessment, that place of a negative bias, especially when the news is not great. Also, the programming that we have in our mind that really does control our habits, behaviors, and patterns without us being aware. So we really explored underneath the iceberg of our brain and we looked at how resourceful our subconscious mind is in regards to not just responding versus reacting, but also our mindset. We looked at Carol Dweck's work around mindset and we defined growth mindset as really being that place of looking at change and information, even feedback, as really signposts for where we can grow and develop. So by me responding instead of reacting meant that I really took time to explore what my emotional reactions were and explore what I had available to me to be able to help myself and to help my sister. Accepting what is going on means that I had to realize that this was happening with or without me. If it was happening with me, there were things that I could do to help me. And one of those things was to build my brain's trust, the people who would support me, the people who would be able to help me to stay in that growth mindset and to help to show me if I wasn't. And these became the people who really bring positivity, who question things differently than the way we do, and who are able to see a different path forward or communicate differently than we do. So your brain's trust became the people in your organization that really bring out the best in you. So accepting meant that even though this was happening, I was able to find resourcefulness to get me through. Accountability meant that I needed to find some leadership for me. I needed to be able to lead myself through my responses, and I needed to be able to lead my sister, because it wasn't long before I realized I had many skill sets that could help her at that time from each of my different careers. So taking accountability meant that I found the leader in me that was able to find support that she needed. Everybody else around was reacting. Everybody else around was having this place of fear. And what she truly needed was somebody to lead her through. So I was able to manage that and manage my emotions and manage my mindset so that I could give that to both of us. Within that acceptance meant that I was able to find the language for my self-talk and the language for her. I was able to look and find the potential. And for her, the potential was, what is she tapping into that gets her through this every day? And I had to find the courage to develop that. And you may remember some of the kooky things that we did in order to encourage that in her daily. And boy, did it work, because it brought out the same potential in her whole care team and all throughout the hospital. So really finding that accountability and that leadership role had more of an impact than I could ever know. So within our workshop, we really covered the 3 responses that I had to change, which was respond, accept, and accountability. Within those 3 areas, I hope you have access to the slides. If not, please let me know. I can give you access to the slides. There are many different definitions, mindset tips and techniques that will help you to get there. And I wish you well with all of your Q4 check-ins with your people. I hope they all go well, and I hope for you also to remember to use your anchor that we developed. I hope for you to be able to have access to the resources and the ideas that really gelled for you in the workshop. As I always say to everybody, take 1 or 2, take the whole lot, whatever works for you. If you're able to find a positive mindset, a growth mindset in any of the content that we discussed, I wish you well with that, and I'm very glad to have been a part of it. So if I don't get a chance to connect with some of you by the end of the year, have a wonderful Q4 and Christmas break. And thank you again for spending time with me. I really enjoyed it, and I am excited for what 2021 brings for you and your teams. Bye-bye.